President of the Senate visits Kuje Correctional Facility. House of Reps probes daily consumption of petrol. Later on the program.
Security issue, it is the concern of everybody, and it should be the concern of everybody. If you see something, as they say something.
We'll get Honorable Olaifa Aremu's reaction to the current security situation in the country. You're watching the Hallowed Chambers on TVC News. I am Tijesu Adiuyi. President of the Senate Ahmed Lawan went to Kuje to see firsthand the havoc wreaked by terrorists on the custodial center. The President of the Senate says the attack is a sign of Nigeria's security architecture failure. The Senate President also suggested that the attack was possible because of the collaboration of insiders within the correctional center.
When things like this happen, there should be sanctions. Where people fail to do their job properly and they are being given that responsibility, they should also be asked to take responsibility. If people don't take responsibility for their failures, then it means nobody will bother to do what is expected of his office or the kind of job the person has been given. The National Assembly appropriate funds, and this is the essence of our being here, but having this kind of situation today in the FCT, that we have criminals all over who are free now, all over the FCT, is very, very dangerous, and you can never have peace of mind.
The House of Representatives has started a probe to know the actual quantity of petrol consumed daily in the country. To this effect, the lawmakers have invited the Minister of Finance, Minister of State for Petroleum, and the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, also explained the reasons behind the Parliament's approval of 4 trillion naira for subsidy in 2022.
Of the committee is to ascertain daily consumption of PMS, which can best be confirmed through what is dispensed at the fueling stations daily. Unfortunately, there are no technology deployed by the regulatory authorities to monitor the volume dispensed at various fueling stations all over the country.
Expected that the critical stakeholders that have been invited here will be represented by their chief executive officers. I hardly can see any chief executive officer here. How much more not sending any representative at all? It is a shame. It is unacceptable to the House of Representatives.
With that technology, the data will be captured even to the last liter consumed. This is a period where we are talking about technology, and it's important we bring it to bear. It will cost us nothing.
The House of Representatives has directed the Nigerian Customs Service to streamline its vehicle identification number valuation system or risk the suspension of the exercise. Lawmakers are also disappointed at the dismal level of work achieved by the contractors handling the permanent site of the agency in Abuja. Its Committee on Customs and Excise made this known while on an oversight visit to Lagos and Abuja. My colleague, Joke Adisa, reports.
Members of the House Committee on Customs and Excise, led by Kogi legislator Leke Abejide, arrived in Lagos State for a week-long oversight. The first point of call was the Southwest Zonal Command of the Nigeria Customs Service. The command says it generated about 1.24 trillion naira in the first half of 2022. It lists a number of challenges, including insecurity and lack of scanners, to which the committee assures of an imminent end with the expected assent to the amendment bill.
The containers, the trailers that are smuggling out of this country, most of this subsidy that the government is paying, the petrol is not used in Nigeria. We have a lot of seizures in FOE. When you get to FOE, you see every week we have numerous seizures of petroleum products trying to smuggle outside of Nigeria. We also have wildlife. Most of our wildlife has been endangered. The elephants are being killed in our forests every day.
The Nigeria Customs Service to combat smuggling and concealment of arms and ammunition into this country, foiling insecurity everywhere, and to help in blocking revenue loss within the system. One of the major purpose of this oversight is to hear from you what your needs and challenges are.
The committee was also at the Muritala Mohammed International Airport Cargo Wing of the Nigeria Customs Service. Authorities here say about 679 pieces of drones, 638 packages of military hardware and military uniforms intercepted were handed over to the Nigerian Army. 35 packages of explosives were also presented to the Nigeria Police, while seized 214 packages of 275 milligrams of tramadol, 500,000 tablets of tramadol, 85 packages of dry heart leaves, and now with the NDLEA. At the Federal Operations Unit, Area Controller Zone A, Kehinde Jibuno, says the command lost about 4 officers to smugglers in 2021, while several others are occasionally attacked in border communities. The lawmakers are worried about the increasing wave of smuggling, especially of banned, substandard, and petroleum products.
Gone were the days when smugglers would kill an officer and he would just go like that. As I came here, I stopped it and I made sure I would go after them. And I did, and I went after them. So those that were arrested, they brought them here.
So that means people are now concentrating on smuggling of PMS outside. So we are only subsidizing our neighboring countries. That is why we need to do the enforcement the more. We need to help you to be able to do the job the more.
After its 1-week-long official visit to the commands of the Nigeria Customs Service in Lagos, the committee is back in Abuja. It sets out to have an on-the-spot assessment of the level of work at the permanent site of the service. Having gone round the structure, the committee expresses unhappiness at the level of work here.
There's nothing the custom asks this committee or this National Assembly. We work in harmony with them to make sure the operation is smooth. You can see, ask him. Even we go out of our way to help to make sure things are done in a fast way. But the way we are seeing the project, we are not happy.
The lawmakers train headed to the headquarters of the service in Zone 3 area of the city center. The committee's mission is to formally acquaint the leadership of the service with its findings and recommendations in Lagos. The chairman, Leke Abejide, presented the report on behalf of the committee. He said the committee had observed how the impasse over vehicle identification number valuation was pitching the service against importers, licensed agents, and other stakeholders.
The government may face dwindling revenue in a short while if the VIN can't be streamlined into one within this week. The committee will recommend it for its suspension pending. If it doesn't solve on time, you cannot streamline it so that there will be no problem.
The Controller General welcomed the visiting team. Hamid Ali also made comments on the committee's observations while in Lagos. He says the service is in talks with the Central Bank of Nigeria to acquire the more than 100 scanners required for effective operations.
We are looking forward. In fact, we are as anxious as anything to get the modernization project in place, because to us is the ultimate reform and restructuring of the service.
The committee ends its August visit with a promise that the bill to repeal the 63-year-old Customs and Excise Management Act for a more formidable law will soon be signed by President Muhammadu Buhari in the nation's bid to transform the operations of the service and increase its revenue generation.
Joining us on the program is Honorable Olaifa Aremu. It's good to have you on the program.
It's a pleasure.
Nigeria is in the throes of worsening insecurity. How do you react to the separate recent attacks on Kuje prison and Mr. President's advanced convoy?
Although this is my own personal opinion, as far as I'm concerned, it shows the extent to which our national security network has been compromised. I do not know how a terrorist group will infiltrate to the security network of our prison yards, so to say, and operated for about 3 hours we have been challenged. If there had never been, or if there had not been any insiders' connivance, I don't think they could have spent such a long period of time operating illegally, creating havoc, killing people like that, destroying national property. It's unfortunate, and it stands to be condemned by any rational thinking person. Our country, I don't know how we got to where the stage we are now. I just pray and hope that one day Nigeria will get out of all these predicaments. Nigeria will be back, bigger, bolder, and better.
So is it right to say your party has failed Nigeria with the continued spike in insecurity?
Well, this is not a new phenomenon. It has been happening even before the APC came on board. Although I agree with you that the situation is getting more and more worse by the day. It's becoming more and more worrisome, sincerely speaking. But that does not mean that the party has failed totally. There are some other areas where the party has tried its best. You look at the infrastructural developments, the party has tried its best there. Security issue, apart from those who are statutorily charged with responsibility of ensuring safety of life and property, it is the concern of everybody, and it should be the concern of everybody. If you see something, as they say something. But the fear, because I must not forget to say this, the fear is still that if you give the security men any vital information, who will guarantee the safety of your own life? That is where the concern is more germane than any other area. Go to a police station, make a report. The policeman will ask you, whom are you suspecting? Go and bring the person. Am I a policeman that I should be asked to go and bring somebody whom I'm suspecting? How safe will my life be? So people who are being skeptical, they are not ready to come forward to give any information voluntarily to the police because of the safety of their lives. And I won't blame them.
It is also being said that the security agents have been compromised. Do you share this thought?
I said it earlier on, that showed the level at which our security network had been compromised. I said it earlier on. It has been confirmed on several occasions that members of the armed forces and other security agencies have been conniving and colluding with these. Many of them are faithfuls of these Islamic sects that wreak havoc. There had been occasions when some of them were apprehended, they were arrested, and that's all we will hear. We won't know what will happen to them next. You can imagine if 64 Boko Haramis were in that prison yard when the bomb blast occurred, and 64 of them had escaped, according to them. As at now, I'm not sure if any one of them has been rearrested. It's so bad, so bad. And I feel ashamed to even be a Nigerian with all these happenings. The truth must be told.
So how did you get here?
I don't know, my dear sister. I don't know. How we got here, I don't know. I don't know. All I will only admonish the government to do is to look inward very deeply. Send these our security personnel on refresher courses, both home and abroad. We should apply moral suasion into it as well. Let them feel the negative impact of all these things. It can be any one of them. It can be any of their relations. If they are not up and doing, such occurrences will continue to occur. We need to look inward, get ourselves reappraised, and have a rethink and a change of heart and attitude.
Should Nigeria seek foreign assistance?
if it is forthcoming, there is nothing bad in it for us to seek international help to get us out of all this mess. It's becoming seriously embarrassing, not only nationally but internationally. If there is any if there is any assistance that will come from the international community, let it come. It is this time that it should come. No other better time than now. It should come. It shows that our security personnel are incapable of curtailing the onslaught of these Boko Haramists, the Fulani herdsmen, the bandits, killing, maiming, raping, kidnapping for ransom. After collecting the ransom, they will still go ahead to kill the victims. Why is it that we do not value the sanctity of life anymore in this country? Human beings slaughtering fellow human beings like animals without showing any remorse. It's ungodly.
The kidnapped train passengers have spent over 100 days in captivity, and many others are languishing in abductors' den. What should the government do at this time?
I'm not a security personnel, but from the look of things, if we conclude like that, we will not be wrong to say that they have failed. The entire security apparatus has failed this nation. And people have been calling for the resignation of the headship of the security, even if the people there now resign. Are we going to bring demons from other planets to come and head it? Is it not the same set of people following the current leaders that will take over? What can they do that they are not doing now? They have failed. I don't know what the government will do to them to salvage the situation.
What options are open to Mr. President at this time?
I cannot read the mind of the president. He is the head of state, he is the commander-in-chief, the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. As you said earlier on, he is a retired general, he is a war veteran. He should call his security chiefs together and let them, for once, be very, very serious about the security architecture of this country. And if he feels he's helpless, he can resign. There is no sin in that. It's only in this part of the world that people prefer to die on the throne, or they will sit tight there. They will never resign. Even if their children are being killed, they won't go. In fact, they will be telling you that they are doing their best when they are failing. If he cannot cope, he should resign. If it is as a result of old age or failing health, there is no sin in resigning and handing over to a more competent person. This is not about sentiments at all. We are saying it the way it should be said. Because nobody is safe in this country again. Nobody is safe. And it can be anybody. It is the turn of Mr. A today. Tomorrow it may be the turn of Mr. B. If you feel you are unconcerned because you have not been attacked, be ready. It can be your turn one day.
Over time, the National Assembly has intervened with several motions, yet the security situation keeps nosediving. What else can the Parliament do?
National Assembly, I'm just a member of the House of Reps. We are 360. I'm not even a principal officer in that house. So my own views may be different from those of the leadership of the National Assembly, particularly the House of Reps, where I belong.
Speak to us more about your bill for coordinating a body for broadcasters.
Well, simply put, the bill seeks to ensure that the practice of broadcasting is legally backed up so as to make it possible for practitioners to regulate themselves and operate within the ambits of the law vis-a-vis determining what level of knowledge should be acquired by anybody who wants to be known, addressed, and seen as a broadcaster. It seeks to prohibit the influx of quacks or charlatans into the profession. It seeks to regulate the profession in such a way that it will not be an all-commerce profession. It won't be turned into a dumping ground for every Tom, Dick, and Harry. In a nutshell, that is what the bill seeks to achieve.
You are not a broadcaster. Why the interest?
Well, I am not, directly speaking. But I am in the field of communication generally. Having read public relations up to the master's level. And I believe the practice of public relations is a component of the mass media, mass communication. And I'm a freelancer when it comes to broadcasting as well.
We have heard experts call for the scrapping of the National Broadcasting Commission. Do you support this?
I don't think the NBC should be scrapped. Rather, we should look critically at the act that established the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission and streamline its activities so that it will, the two bodies, that is the NBC and the intending bill to become an act very soon, will not be on collision course with the provisions of the NBC. To me, the NBC should be, activities should be streamlined to such level that NBC should be left with granting of broadcasting license alone and punishing erring broadcasting organization. I think that should be enough Herculean task for NBC to shoulder. When it comes to regulation, we are talking about practitioners. The practitioners should regulate themselves. They should determine who becomes what within that profession. They should operate within a set standards of ethics. There should be a code of ethics and code of practice. So the practitioners should operate within the ambit of these two codes, the code of ethics and the code of practice. What is ethical, what is unethical when it comes to broadcasting as a profession? Like we have in all other professions, we have the ICANN, we have the NBA, we have ANAN, we have APCON, we have NIPR, and so on and so forth. So broadcasting should not be an exception to the rule, as I said earlier on. It should be regulated and it should be backed up by an enabling act to make it a real and truly a profession.
There fears the proposed Society of Nigerian Broadcasters may usurp the power of the NBC.
Yes, the purpose of any public hearing over a bill is to receive the inputs of other stakeholders. NBC was invited as a stakeholder, and thank God the representative came and made his own submission on behalf of the council, or the commission rather. We have heard him, we've heard what he said, we've even appealed to him to submit it in form of a written memorandum so that we will look at it critically and try to harmonize the area, the gray areas between the provisions of the NBC Act and the proposed law. This one is still a proposed law, so it is still open to further amendments and inputs by other critical stakeholders. You heard what Professor Tony Redia too said, and we've appealed to him to make a written submission to us so that at the committee level, we will look at their submissions very critically and try to harmonize so that we won't be on collision course.
This is yet another establishment bill. Isn't this an additional financial burden to the government?
Well, this bill does not confer any or impose any financial burden on the country. Rather, if there is any financial burden to be borne, it has to be borne by the practitioners themselves. It does not concern the government. I think what the Speaker was saying This guy was not talking absolutely. He was talking in relative terms. In relative terms in the sense that he was specifically referring to establishment bills that have to do with establishing universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education, because these are the responsibilities of the government. But in this case, it's more or less a private bill, so to say. It's left for the society to look inward, raise the necessary financial resources that may be needed by them, and it is going to be self-imposed. So if you want to belong to that profession, nobody is forcing you to become a member of that profession anyway. If you want to become, or you have been parading yourself to be one, then you have to be guided by the rules and regulations of the practice. For you to become a chartered accountant, you must belong to the ICANN. Or if you want to become a national accountant, you have to belong to the ANAN. If you have not gone to the Nigerian law school, you can't parade yourself as a barrister in this country. At best, you only be seen as a law graduate if you have not attended the law school. So, what is worth doing at all is worth doing well. So if you want to be seen as a professional, you must be seen as a professional in the true sense of it.
Won't it also conflict with the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria?
No, there is no difference. Of course, the bill was the brainchild of Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria. It was their baby. You understand that? So they brought it to me, and I sponsored it as a private member's bill.
That is the program this week. Remember, you can see this episode again on TVC News YouTube channel and watch a repeat broadcast at 7 a.m. on Sunday. Thank you for watching. I am Tijesu Adiri. See you next time.